Hey everyone, Dustin here from Digital Nomad Lawyer. And coronavirus is here. How do we get you and your law firm to go from in office to virtual digital as soon as possible? Like today, like ASAP, like right now. Los Angeles is putting, California, Northern California has just put some laws into effect that basically says you can't travel unless it's like urgent emergency kind of travel. I imagine Los Angeles is going to do this as well. A lot of other big cities are probably going to start doing this as well. So how do we go from you being having to go to the office, having an office, your staff is there, to moving that infrastructure and creating it to be virtual without too much headache, too much hassle, without losing your flow, losing your processes, your systems, all that, trying to keep that intact as much as possible. So I'm going to give you 7 ways to do it. Now, our firm, 3.5 years ago I started, we are completely virtual. We have a team of over 40 people. We run completely remote, completely virtual office. So I'm going to give some 7 tips to do it like as soon as possible. And what I would do right now if I was sitting in your shoes where you've got a physical office and you're trying to go virtual as soon as possible. 7 tips. Here we go. First tip, this is very important and don't underestimate it, but it's your mindset and your attitude. How you view the situation is going to determine everything. If you're the firm leader or the firm manager, how you're thinking, how your state is, how your mentality is, what you believe is possible, the questions you're asking, everything's going to stem from you. The decisions you make are going to be directly shaped by your mindset and your attitude. So you got to have a good attitude about it. And instead of saying, oh, this is, woe is me, this sucks, how do I can't deal with this, blah, blah, blah. Instead, I want you to flip it. Say, not only how am I going to survive this, but how am I going to thrive, right? How am I going to create something amazing? How am I going to look back on this story and say, wow, look what I was able to do. Look how I was able to lead my team. It's all in your attitude and it's all in your mindset. How can you use this as an opportunity for transformation, to level up yourself, right? Level up your firm, to go to the next level. This is your opportunity to do that. And it's going to start with your mindset and your attitude. So start with a good attitude, have a positive attitude, ask yourself empowering questions. How can I thrive during this time? How am I going to be amazing? How are we going to double our revenues? Not how we're going to survive and stay in business. No, how are we going to double our revenues this year? Based on what's going on, right? Because it's through the strife that the opportunities arise, great opportunities. And if you're strong mindset and you're thinking in the right way, you have a chance to really create something amazing and outstanding here. And look back on your life. Look at some of the most trying times that you've been through in your life. A lot of times, those are what created the most amazing things for yourself. Isn't that true? So look at some of the most challenging, tough times. Look what you were able to create with that. Look at where you are now. Where you are now is probably not because you just coasted along, but you went through some very difficult, challenging times and you got better, you grew as a result. So this is your opportunity for that. We want to look back in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now and be like, wow, this was a blessing. I didn't realize at the time, but this was a blessing and I was able to thrive during this time. So that is your mindset. That is your attitude moving forward right now, here on out. Okay, number 1. Number 2, you got to communicate with your team about what's going on. Be a transparent leader. Be a vulnerable leader. Share with your team. If you're scared and you're not sure, share that with them. That's going to create openness. It's going to create dialogue, engagement. They know you're a human being, so be a human being with them. And if you're not sure, share that with them. If you have ideas, share. Hey, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking this. What do you guys think? Share your ideas with them. It's going to create unity. It's going to create team camaraderie, and they're going to help come to the solutions too. So as they come to the solutions, they're going to be a part of the solution. They're going to be part of making it happen. So communicate with your team. They're obviously very, very well aware of what's going on, and say, hey, we don't want you going to the office. I want to take care of you guys, make sure you guys are all right. Let's have you not go to the office. But we have to move this thing virtually. How do you guys think we should do this? What's the best way? How are we going to still communicate with the clients? How are we going to still do settlements? Whatever type of law or business that you're in, how are we still, look at the specific problems you guys are having and put it on them, pose it to them, and ask them what they're doing and get them involved in the process. I think that's going to be huge. So that's the second tip, communicating with your team what's going on. Third thing, if you're not used to having people work from home, this is an important thing. You got to create very clear expectations and what we call KPIs, key performance indicators, for them. So if they've been doing stuff at the office, right, and now they got to go home, they can't ask people certain things. They can't go around, do certain things. What do? They won't know what to do unless you clearly tell them what to do. So one thing we've done in our firm, and again, our entire team is remote, and I'm putting my trust that they're doing what they need to do. That's a part of it. But also, I'm very clearly communicating what they need to do. For example, we have a client care department where their job is to basically respond to client calls all day. And they know that their directives are respond to all calls within 48 hours. When we have a new client come on board, they have to call that new client and do a welcome call or an intro call within 48 hours. If the clients text us, they have to respond to their texts within 48 hours. Those are basically 3 things they have to do. And we go and we measure those things. So we have a call log from our reception team. Whenever a client calls, they put it on that specific client care member's call log on a Google Sheet using simple Google Sheets. And once that person has called, they mark it as complete on the Google Sheets. And at the end of the week, we look and see, were they over 48 hours or not over 48 hours in the response, and then that's how we know. So we're very clear with them, though, hey, call the clients back, do your intro calls, respond to text messages. Those 3 things. Very, very clear with them. So you might have different departments, different staff, different team members. Pick 3 things that person should be doing when they're home, and they can either self-report, say, hey, here's what I did, and give you a report on it, or you have to set up some sort of metric, some sort of measure to make sure that they're doing what they're doing. Now, since we're moving ASAP, right, as soon as possible from here to here, you're not going to have time to set up all the metrics, set up all the key performance indicators for everyone in your staff and everyone in your team, right? You're just not going to have enough time to do that. So for you as the business owner, focus on maybe who you think are going to be a little more of the slackers on the group, right? Your rock stars, you probably don't need to. In fact, your rock stars will probably help you create these systems in place, right? Focus on maybe if you have people in certain departments that are a little more slackers and you want to know what the heck is they're doing and making sure they're doing stuff and getting stuff done. And if they are or not doing something here, it's not going to affect something that over here, right? You got to make sure that they're doing it. Build trust, communicate with them, but also have some sort of key performance indicators. Hey, I need you to write 10 demand letters today, whatever the heck it is for your firm. Give them specific measurables that they should hit. Now, how detailed you go into those, it depends. Look, we're a virtual law firm, and I highly recommend, if you can, go virtual. You're going to save money, time, you're going to save so much things. You're going to be a lot more efficient, I think, in so many different ways. But if that's not your end game goal, you're like, no, we're just not going to do it, or I can't do it, or you don't want to do it, then you're just going to create temporary solutions. So instead of having them, maybe if you were completely virtual, they may have to do 10 things. Instead, you give them 2-3 things to do. Make sure that they know what they're doing. They're measurables, where they got to do every day or every week. And for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks or whatever it ends up being, that they hit those. And you're clear with them what that is. So they're not just sitting at home and, oh, there's the TV and there's Netflix and there's my kids and there's a chocolate candy bar, right? So they know exactly what it is that they have to do and what they're supposed to get done and what they're going to be measured on. That's a huge thing for our firm when we're virtual, because we're virtual. That's how I know how everything is running in the firm, by doing that. Okay, 4th thing, your mail. So you're going to be getting a lot of mail, checks especially, right? You need to get those in. We use a virtual mail service. It's called Earth Class Mail. I highly recommend them. So you can use them, but again, that's more of a medium-term, long-term solution to get set up with them. That's just going to take too long. That's not really a viable solution for you right now. But just set up a mail forwarding. So if mail is going to your office, set up a mail forwarding system so it goes to your home. Or if it's not your home, a P.O. box near your home, something like that, where it's going and getting forwarded. So you still have access to the checks. If you're getting discovery responses or production requests for whatever type of litigation you're doing, you're able to get those and respond. You don't have to drive to the office. Or if that's not viable, then just drive to the office once a week, pick it all up, come back home, go through it. But really what is ideal right now is to set up a mail forwarding. Now, if you don't normally check your mail, it's going to be a little bit trickier. You could set up a mail forwarding to your employee's house or whoever checks the mail. Maybe you want to do that, maybe you don't. I don't know, because maybe it's their personal home, they've got kids and family, and you don't want like sensitive things just floating around there. So it's maybe not a great idea. But I would at least forward it to your home. You can do that through the post office, do a temporary mail forwarding, I think up to 6 months or something like that. So do it for like a month or so, and it costs, I think, $1 or something like that. So set that up, get that going. Number 5, outgoing mail. If you don't want to be printing up stuff and going to the mailbox and having your printers and all that set up, there's a program we use. It's called DocuSense, DocuCents. We mail everything from our computer. I can write a Word document, save it as a PDF, upload it to DocuSense. Who do I want it to go to? That name of the parties, the address. It sends it out with a proof of service the same day if you do it like before 12. Otherwise, it goes out the next day. Do everything from the computer. I don't go to the post office ever at all. And we send out a lot of mail every day. We do workers' comp, and it's just piles of mail. It's administrative law. So just so much mail going out all the time. And it doesn't cost a whole lot more than you just printing it, putting a stamp on, walking to the office, and putting it in the mailbox. DocuSense, DocuCents. Unlike Earth Class Mail, which gets your mail, DocuSense you can get set up very quickly, very easily. So it's not like something you have to change your address and do all kinds of crazy things. You can create an account, get set up on there, and I think there's a few preliminary things you got to do to set up, but contact them. They're very responsive, and I highly recommend them. And that's, again, something that you may utilize going forward, right? So this is something, again, we're looking to transform, to thrive. This is something like, hey, I'm so glad I was able to learn about this. I would have never learned about this thing, this DocuSense, if it weren't for this situation that I dealt with. And it could revolutionize your business going forward. Number 6 is your phone system. You could just check your voicemails every day, or have your calls get forwarded to your cell phone. We use a VoIP system. It's like a voice IP system where I can literally call from my office line, from my computer, or from my cell phone, from my iPhone. I just download an app. There's different ones. There's Ring Central, Vonage, Nextiva. We personally use Vonage, and none of them are perfect. I've tried a couple of different ones. None of them are perfect, but Vonage, it seems to be the best fit for us. So we use Vonage, and I could call from my, everybody in our team has cell phone or computer. They're linked into the Vonage system. So whenever a call comes in, we tell Vonage, if a call comes in, you link it to one of these 3 people, our 3 receptionists. You link it to them, and the receptionist will answer. They can transfer it live. They can take messages. It's got a voicemail system. It's got an after-hours call forwarding, whatever. You can do all those kinds of different things. So this is a great way where you can take and make calls from your office no matter where you are. I've made calls from Greece. I've made calls from Spain. I've made calls from Australia, from the Philippines, from Bali, and from Los Angeles, of course. So I make calls from everywhere. The system is called Vonage, but any voiceover system would work. And it's amazing. It allows you to be completely remote, and it all goes into your office line to and from. It's fantastic. And the 7th thing is your cases. I really hope by now you have an online case management system. If you got the big old chunky paper files, look, medium, long-term plan, get rid of those. You got to move everything online. Like, got to get with the 21st century. It's going to make you better, more efficient, more mobile, more practical. If you need to print stuff out, print stuff out. But you got to have really an online system. There's so many of them right now. Filevine, Clio. Those are 2 very good ones that I could recommend. But let's say, again, we're looking for more immediate solutions. So what I would do is, look at your files. What do I got, and which file do I need for the next 2 to 3 weeks, right? We don't know how long things can last, but probably at least 2 to 3 weeks. So look at the files that you need. Just throw them in your car and drive home and work from home. And you got the files right there in your car. If you need to go back and get some other ones, maybe you go once a week, once every 2 weeks. Maybe there's nobody else in your office, so you can go back and forth every day. But I don't know, the thought of driving back and forth to an office every day, I don't do that, so I couldn't imagine that. But try to just plan out, what do I need for the next couple of weeks. You want to minimize your exposure around the world, right? So around people, like being around people right now. So get those, put those in your car, drive home, keep it from home, and work from home. So those are the 7 things that I would recommend and how to go remote, to create your law firm to go from office to remote as soon as possible. And I think, again, look for the gold in this situation, look for the opportunities. Even if you take 1 or 2 of these things and you keep that with your firm, I think it's going to revolutionize how efficient you are, how effective you are. It's going to reduce your costs. So many benefits for that. So thank you guys so much for listening. Please like our videos, to subscribe to our channel if this was helpful for you. Also share it with a friend who needs to hear this and who's going to benefit. So thank you guys so much. Dustin, Digital Nomad Lawyer. Talk to you soon.